Hello everyone and welcome to another Star Wars figure review. Today we're going to take a look at some more Clone Wars figures, and the first one I want to give you a look at is a character that very briefly appears in Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 3. You may remember that during the Savage Opress story arc there is a scene in which the Republic Commando Squad, Delta Squad more specifically, walk down the ramp of a Republic shuttle and are greeted by a group of Jedi. Now this particular character is among those. And while he only plays a small part in the Clone Wars up to now, hopefully with the release of this figure and also with the masses of fan interest that this guy has, we will see a bit more of him in Season 4. Now he's a figure that's played quite a pivotal role throughout the prequel trilogy and also in other Star Wars multimedia projects. I'll expand on those a little bit more later in the review, but the figure itself and the character is this guy here. This is of course Saesee Tiin. I believe the species he belongs to is known as the Iktotch or the Iktotch. Not entirely sure. Parts of this figure are inspired by an earlier appearance by Saesee Tiin in another Star Wars TV show. As I said, I will expand on that later on in the review. But before we get into the figure, we're going to take a look at the packaging in which he comes. As you can see, you've got a very cool image of Saesee Tiin on the top of the card. Weirdly enough, wielding a blue lightsaber, whereas the figure and all the other appearances of Saesee Tiin in Star Wars have shown him using a green lightsaber, so quite why he's using a blue one in these images is beyond me. Same case as on the back, the image of the figure uses a blue lightsaber, whereas the figure inside actually comes with a green one, and there's another image there of Saesee Tiin using a blue lightsaber as well, so very strange. You've also got the character description underneath that, and of course the rest of the way featured along the bottom. And like with most Clone Wars figures, this guide does indeed come with a Clone Wars Adventures online code, so I'm sure you all know the drill by now. If you want one of these, then feel free to pause the video and snap that up. And obviously he also comes with the typical battle game card with a very cool image on the top and the display stand as well. So that's the packaging and its contents. Now onto the figure. This guy is a little bit of a hit and miss. The figure itself is superb, really like it, but in terms of the accessories that he comes with, they leave a little bit to be desired. The helmet that is included is a very popular design amongst fans, and it first appeared in the Clone Wars Micro series back in 2005. There was a scene in that series where Saesee Tiin leads a group of space troopers from a Republic ship through space and onto a separatist capital ship in an attempt to take it over and destroy it. Basically the helmet that this figure is wearing is inspired by that appearance, and in the Legacy Collection line of figures back in 2008, a figure of that interpretation of Saesee Tiin was released, and a helmet very similar to this was included. The only differences are this time around it's a little bit more animated, and it's also missing the pipes and the little chest box that the previous release came with as well. It also feels a little bit cheaply made compared to the other one, so I do prefer to remove it and have the figure on display without the helmet, which as you can see looks 10 times better, and the figure underneath has a superb likeness to Saesee Tiin. Really like that. On the back of the figure's head you've got Saesee Tiin's trademark tattoo, although it's a little bit more subtle on this figure. Just try and get the camera to focus in on it. It's a little bit more subtle on this figure. If you remember the Saga Legends Saesee Tiin, for example, this tattoo had a white outline around it which made it a lot more prominent and stand out a lot more, whereas this time around it's just a little bit more sort of subtle and doesn't stand out quite as much. He has some very cool designs on the gauntlets as well. Not entirely sure where those derive from, but they look pretty cool nonetheless. He also comes with his trademark lightsaber, which as I said has a green blade, not a blue one as the packaging depicts. And it's got a uniquely sculpted hilt as well. Aside from the helmet, he also comes with this slightly weird looking jetpack as well, as you can see, which sort of looks like a kite. And the choice of colours that Hasbro have given this backpack as well just don't do it any favours. As you can see, it's got a very vibrant, very luminous green and yellow colour scheme, and it just looks really toyish, and I'm not a big fan of it. The one redeeming feature, aside from the fact that it's completely removable, is the fact that the wings actually fold out, and for fictional purposes you can have this guy in flight mode, which makes it look a little bit better. But as I said, the colours that they've used and just the overall design of the jetpack just looks a little bit poor and a little bit cheap, and just looks way too much like a toy. It's billed on the front of the packaging as Jedi flight gear, although I've never seen any other Jedi wear this type of thing, so yeah, it must be a Saesee Tiin unique design. Each wing also has the Republic emblem on either side, which looks pretty cool, but I'm sure the jetpack would have looked a lot better in a different colour. The jetpack, as I said, can be removed, and basically you just unclip it from this chest armour piece, like so. And if you want to proceed to remove the chest piece, you basically just pop off the head and lift up the chest piece, and it will come off like that. You can replace the head, and then you've got a much more realistic and accurate looking version of Saesee Tiin. So before we complete this review, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of this figure's articulation. He has a ball jointed neck, ball hinged shoulders, ball hinged elbows, swivel wrists, a swivel waist, swivel hips, which is enabled by the fact that the figure actually has a soft goods lower tunic, which allows for added posability. You don't have any plastic restricting movement, and basically means that this figure can sit inside vehicles quite comfortably. He also has ball hinged knees, and unfortunately, as we've come to expect from Hasbro, no articulation in the ankles, but for a standing place on a shelf kind of figure, he doesn't really need it. The only slight complaint I have about the lack of articulation in the ankles is the fact that when you attach the jetpack, he tends to come a little bit top heavy and will fall over without a stand. But other than that, he's a superb figure. Couldn't really have asked for much more from this guy. And before I wrap up this review, I'll just give you one last look at him with his Jedi flight gear. So there we go. That's Saesee Tiin from Clone Wars. I hope you've enjoyed having a look at this figure, and I will be back with some more Clone Wars figure reviews very, very soon. So until next time guys, as always, keep collecting, and may the Force be with you.